Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Aggie News. I'm Kayla Collier.
And I'm Beliana Garland. The Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl, 38-35. It was bound to go down as one of the more classic Super Bowls we've ever seen. But many believe it was ruined due to the holding call on cornerback James Bradberry. The penalty gave Kansas City an automatic first down, placing them in field goal range with a little over a minute left. This allowed them to run the clock and go down to win the game.
Last Wednesday, Mr. A&T was impeached.
The Senate voted 32-7 to remove the Mr. from the royal court after absences and other contract breaches.
2 weeks earlier, former Mr. Curtis Shannon Jr. took to social media to voice his frustrations with the royal court and Student Government Association.
He was open about his struggles with mental health, and at the time, Shannon felt like he was not being supported and was on his way out.
Melvin Harris has the controversy around mental health and Shannon's impeachment.
Former Mr. A&T Curtis Shannon Jr. lost his crown and was impeached by the SGA Senate this past Wednesday. Shannon was impeached due to several strikes and even additional breaches leading to his removal. Now, mental health is the topic of discussion here, which is causing a lot of controversy around campus. Shannon saw this day coming and took to social media before his reign ended. While the rest of SGA remained silent on social media, Curtis used his platform to get his side of the story out first. Seniors Ishara Smith and Kennedy King believe SGA didn't prioritize mental health enough and could be hiding something from the public.
Honestly, I feel like mental health, especially when it comes to black men, should always be considered important because the suicide rate is the highest when it comes to that narrative. So to me, I feel like regardless of if he was Mr. A&T or if he was a regular person on campus, it should be taken seriously regardless.
It looks like they're trying to sweep stuff like under the rug, and us as a student body, we're not stupid. Like, we can kind of see that they're not trying to tell us the full story, but I think we deserve to know like what exactly is happening.
The former Mr. believes he wasn't ready for the position he was about to take on, which could have led to mental health struggles. He also pointed out the fact that he couldn't relate to recent kings because they were in a reign while COVID was more prevalent.
Really and truly, I didn't know what I was walking into. No ifs, ands, and buts about it.
In the same light, he didn't feel supported by his former queen, and emotionally he felt isolated from the royal court.
I felt so alone because I felt like, as my queen being the mental health advocate that she is, that me being able to actually find the strength to speak up and like express how I'm feeling about what's going on and like how we're being treated. I felt like by what she said, it was just like another punch or a smack in the face to me, kind of like.
As far as the next Mr. A&T, the answer is still up in the air. When I talked to Ashley Jackson, the VP of Internal Affairs, she said that there is no current solution. In previous years, the runner-up would fill in, and last year's runner-up was Malik Hawkins, former Mr. Freshman. Reporting in Greensboro, Melvin Harris, Aggie News.
The SGA president nor Miss A&T have responded on social media, but ahead of the impeachment, they did speak with the A&T Register.
President Izana Tamarack acknowledged the mental toll being a part of the Big Three can have.
So when he says being an E-board member of the Big Five is extremely hard on your mental, emotional, and physical, he is not lying. Being a E-board member is so intense because you also balance school, balance your mental, balance your emotional, and just truly enjoy your collegiate experience, especially if you're a senior.
But she says her decision was purely business. Shannon completed his events and held office hours upholding the constitutional agreement, but he breached the leadership and royal court agreement. Lack of poor communication was a significant issue.
Lack of communication with me as the president, which led to multiple misunderstandings and which led to multiple absences. And I do want to say that the strikes that he received were from absences, and none of those absences include days where he was absent to an event and informed us 2 days later it was because of a mental health problem. Those were even taken off the list because we understand sometimes you can't get out of the bed, sometimes you can't pick up your phone.
There were several instances where Miss A&T, Aviana Burns, said she felt she was doing 2 jobs.
I feel like at the end of the day, if something is too hard for you and like your mental health to fully be like 100% in your position, then that means that sometimes you need to take a step back. very strenuous like situation on the court who wants to depend on their king, who doesn't really show up, and for me, who needs to depend on their king to show up, and that doesn't really show up.
It was also noted during the impeachment that the former Mr. was, quote, renting his campus apartment to other students.
This was a breach of his housing contract and SGA oath.
Who knew the last piece of chicken could really pack a punch? A fight broke out in the Chick-fil-A line on Friday during a much-needed mental health day. Sources say the start of the fight was an all-too-common occurrence of cutting the line. Hair was pulled. In fact, whole dreadlock was found on the ground. Afterwards, the video serves as a stern warning to anyone thinking about cutting the Chick-fil-A line. It's probably best just to wait it out.
A power outage on campus last week left students wondering how they attend a technical school. Jordan Davis has more on the temporary blackout.
How's it going, everyone? It's Jordan Davis reporting for Aggie News. Now, this past Tuesday, A&T endured 2 power outages which affected teachers who canceled classes as a result and students who live on campus. Due to this, many students on campus were left without power in the middle of the night. This is a long-going issue that students are not taking lightly.
Yeah, so I work on campus here at the newspaper office. So being here and having the power to go out is kind of inconvenient and kind of ridiculous because people work here. People like rely to come here to work on the computers or to just, use different outlets. So that the power is out just randomly, it's definitely very inconvenient for me and my staff.
To be honest, I think it's unacceptable. I was up all night studying for a quiz that I had the next morning. I woke up, got some breakfast. By the time I got to campus and got to my class, it said class is canceled. So I just think they need to do better than that. We put a lot of money into the school, and for them to not have simple power at days like this is just unacceptable. I think they need to do better.
Now, regarding the power outage that happened on Monday night, A&T made a tweet informing students that Duke Energy was resolving the issue, which was fixed by Tuesday morning. Now, as far as the power outage that happened later in the day on Tuesday, the school has yet to address what exactly happened and why this issue continues to persist many times throughout the year. For Aggie News, it's been Jordan Davis signing off.
3 foreign high-flying objects have been shot down over North America in just 2 weeks. The latest object was shot down over Canada on Saturday. This one was about the size of a car, seemingly similar to the object over Alaska on Friday. And just a week ago, there was a Chinese spy balloon, or what China is calling a weather balloon. On February 4th, the first Chinese balloon was shot down off the coast of Myrtle Beach. This was after it was spotted first in Montana days earlier. Crews are still retrieving pieces of the balloon from the ocean. Political tensions are high as China declined a call with the U.S. after the balloon was shot down.
Controversies ignited after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis banned the Advancement Placement African American Studies course. I spoke with a criminal justice student, Jayla Richardson, and a political science and history professor, Pamela Baker. Here's what they had to say.
I understand Republican ideology, so I completely would understand that he might not see a course like this as favorable. Now, with that said, I really see that as short-sighted. Where I see the short-sightedness is that communication and dialogue opens people, young people, any people, up to having a greater understanding of all of these areas.
The course was rejected because the state of Florida claimed that the topics that would be covered, like queer studies and prison reform, were pushing a political agenda. One point of concern in the course was topic 415 titled Intersectionality and Activism. The Florida Department of Education stated that intersectionality ranks individuals based on characteristics like race, sexual identity, and wealth. Criminal justice student Jayla Richardson doesn't think those labels are right.
I think just putting somebody off in a category or rank and saying that just because this is how you're born and this is what you fall into, these are values you hold, I think that causes division. And this just goes back to, what Martin Luther King said. And I never thought I would be flipping it on the other side, but what's the contents of your heart?
After heavy pushback from the state, College Board revised the course, omitting topics like critical race theory and queer theory that caused an initial stir. They also added a new topic called Black conservatism. These conversations raise questions on what should or shouldn't be taught in schools.
When we come back, a preview into the A&T Theater Department's new play. Also, why you might think twice before buying a ticket to the movie theater.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, start your move. Mike, cue.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yasmin Vasugian, and I'm an anchor for MSNBC.
I'm Al Roker, the co-host of the Today Show.
I'm Dr. John Torres, senior medical correspondent.
I'm Brandy Zadrozny, a senior reporter for NBC News.
Welcome to NBCU Academy.
Welcome to NBCU Academy.
I'm going to talk about how to conduct live TV interviews.
How to develop sources within your own beat.
How to get everything you need to get when you're on a field shoot.
Here are some of the things that you'll want to keep in mind when looking for a good live shot location. Before we can even have someone on our show, we need to pitch them. And the first thing you need to do is make a research document.
Remembering these basics will help make your piece visually interesting and set you up for success in all your photos and videos in the future.
Welcome to our NBCU Academy live stream on advocating for yourself in the workplace, a topic that I feel very passionately about.
What is a career if you're not reaching back and helping lift people?
This is the NBC family. I'm glad that we got to share it so much.
One more time.
For NBCU Academy, I'm Terrell Tangonin.
I'm Steve Patterson.
And I'm Joe Fryer with NBCU Academy.
Really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us for this edition of NBCU Academy.
Welcome back into the Aggie Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Grant Coleman, giving you a look at your Tuesday as well as looking ahead for the rest of the week. Now, we had a beautiful start to this Valentine's Day, 54 degrees at about 10 a.m. this morning, and temperature's going to get up to about the mid-60s, so it's going to be a great day to get outside, enjoy the weather. The rest of the week will be very similar story, getting up to mid-70s in the middle of the week and some rain on Friday. Looking at your 5-day forecast, that rain you can see is there, but you also see the temperatures drop down almost 10 degrees for the high and then real low for the low. We have a cold front coming in on Thursday evening, giving us rain early Friday morning, which should give way to mostly clouds on Friday and then mostly sunny on Saturday with 51 degrees as your high.
The Lady Aggie basketball team played the Tribe of William and Mary last night in Club Corbett. After a tough loss, Indiana Powers went to see how our Aggies kept their Aggie pride.
We are standing here in Club Corbett as we watch North Carolina A&T's women basketball go head-to-head with William and Mary. North Carolina A&T's ladies Aggies stand overall at 15-8, while in the CAA conference at 9-3. Starting the game off, Jordan Dorsey set the tone by scoring first. Throughout the game, there were highlights of Malia Bracone in tense situations.
Get it back on defense or try to execute the offense. So in that time, I get frustrated a little bit, but I try to just brush it off.
As the Lady Aggies had a defeating game against the William and Mary Tribe, this defense had to work a bit harder this game, although they are still second in the CAA after the Tribe has won. I had a chance to speak with head coach Terrell Robertson about going forward with the team.
Practice and just attention to detail. Like in those moments, I was just talking to them about that. In the moments where we're supposed to execute, we have to execute. And when you get 5 people on the court in every possession, someone does something else outside of what we do in practice or what the game plan is, you get the results that we got.
The North Carolina A&T Lady Aggies fell to the Tribe of William and Mary, 79-64. At Club Corbett, India Powers with Aggie News.
Students at NCA&T are eagerly preparing their resumes and their cover letters for their annual Spring Career Fair this week. But attire is no longer a concern for JOMC students. Sadie Ross reports on how a former professor's legacy provides opportunities for students to come.
What better way to feel the part than to feel and look the part? Students in the journalism program at A&T can now receive new and like-new business clothing for free from Sherry's Closet. Named after former host for WNAA Radio and Professor D. Cherie Lofton, the room is full of professional attire for Crosby students to utilize.
So the closet, I think, was an effort to provide clothing to students who may be preparing for interviews or internships or didn't have maybe dress attire that might be appropriate or best suited for those kinds of things. And so it was started with that in mind. And I think it's a great thing that the department has. I think it's another example of how our students are caring and motivated and know how to work together. I'm really proud of that.
Lofton was recognized this past year as an inductee into the JOMC Hall of Fame posthumously. She died unexpectedly in her home in 2017, but her legacy still lives on through the students in Crosby Hall.
Yeah, well, I think her legacy really is the work you do speaks for you. Who you are really speaks for you based on how you live your life and what you do. And it shows that as an individual, you can make a difference. A lot of times I think we wonder what difference we can make. And sometimes the greatest difference we can make is just by being who we are.
Students interested in utilizing Sherry's Closet or donating items to the closet can stop by the JOMC office on the second floor in Crosby. For Aggie News, this is Sydney Ross, Greensboro, North Carolina.
AMC theaters may have you choosing your seats wisely with their new tickets pricings. Michael Richardson tells us more.
America's biggest movie chain will see a shakeup in ticket prices as moviegoers will be faced with new price and tier options depending upon their seating.
Theater company AMC will be introducing a new set of ticket pricing for moviegoers. The new plan for ticket pricing is part of a new initiative called Sightline. The plan will start with the highest end preferred tickets in the middle of the theater. Standard tickets will be a bit less, which will be the most common choice, and will be sold for a traditional cost of a ticket. The third option will be a value ticket, which are seats in the front row of theaters and will cost less than the standard tickets.
The new ticket prices will begin on February 10th for about 40 theaters in the larger New York, Chicago, and Kansas City markets. Members of the AMC Theater, known as A-List Stub members, will be able to get preferred seating at no extra cost. And Sightline will be only used for movies showing after 4 p.m. For Aggie News, I'm Michael Richardson.
NCNT's theater department is putting on a one-of-a-kind Shakespeare's most famous plays. Rose Gleasonius has more on the story.
The Othello play will officially be held at the end of this month at the Paul Robeson Theater through North Carolina A&T's theater department. Created by infamous playwright and poet William Shakespeare, the play gives us an intimate look into a family tragedy. Greensboro native Venetia Boone is the director of Othello here at A&T.
The show is going to be amazing, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's beautiful to see it all come together.
Christian Martin, seen in the blue, is a recent graduate of A&T, and he plays Othello.
Come, we must obey the time.
He also participated in last spring's production of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Shall meet again. Othello, leave behind some officer of your commission, and he shall our commission bring.
Othello will run from February 23rd to the 26th, and A&T students are free with their Aggie One card. I'm Rose Gleasonius with Aggie News. Back to the studio.
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and A&T students kept their love in photographs. Deja Garner has more.
It's already Valentine's Day. Some of the first-year A&T students are showcasing their creativity and their entrepreneurship skills.
A photographer, cosmetic artist, and 2 fashion designers are coming together for an Aggie self-love photo shoot. Creator and photographer Jada Gary Scott talks about bringing her Valentine idea to life.
I wanted to bring freshman entrepreneurships together so they could represent their business while also emphasizing the importance on self-love and personal identity through fashion.
Fashion designer Kennedy Atkins and Jasmine Wigglesworth are excited to bring their entrepreneurship to one of the top HBCUs in the country.
This has been a very valuable experience for me to expand my business and network with others.
CEO of Breezy Cosmetics, Zakiya Gillis, discusses the importance of generating Black success.
The support of my fellow Aggies is truly a match. It is truly important to support Black businesses.
You can see the photos on Instagram at Through Jada's Lens. What will your Aggie love story showcase? In Greensboro, Deja Garner, Aggie News.
Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Aggie News. I'm Kayla Collier.
And I'm Beliana Garland. We'll see you next week.